So here's something I added to the Electra 1 Osmose controller I've just come out with. Let's just review what this does. On the main control page, you'll have your 6 macros. When you select a preset, will come up with their value and their current name, and you can go and use the rotaries to change them. You can also use your finger to change them. And what I've done here is giving you the ability, we'll just talk about the preset selection functions of this right now, is I let you select the first 128 presets in the playlist number 1. Now I don't know what those names are because there's no preset management interface to call anymore for the Osmose. So what I can do is I can scroll through those, and you can select one of them from your playlist 1 to 128, and let's just say I have playlist number 2. I'll select that, and you'll see that comes up base dist assign on the Osmose, and then current preset name is displayed, and the macros for that are displayed. And then you can also do stuff like change the compressor setting or change the pregain levels. I can select expansion 1 set and choose any preset in that. Select that. That comes up Brassic. And in Brassic now we use that new drive 10H function. So if the preset has the 10H defined, you'll see a couple parameters in that. There's some complication here because EE uses a combination of parameters for these with one parameter value that I won't go into here, but you can always go into the effects page, and there you'll have full ability to change every parameter in your compressor and your 10H if you want to. So I can go through, I can select any preset in the expansion set. I've let you select the factory presets by a couple letters in terms of a category, say presets in the category GH, and you can scroll to those. Your current preset name that you're going to will be showed here. Ghost Voice, for example. I'll select that. That comes up, of course. But what I really want to show is what I've done for user presets. Now on the main page, you can select a user preset from position 1 to 128 as well, but I don't know what those names are. Again, like playlists, there's no preset management interface for those, so I can only let you select a number, and you'll have to know what's in there. But as a compromise to that, what I did for this is put up a kind of user performance page, and on that page I have the first 36 user presets. Now initially when this comes up, it only knows user preset 1 to 36, but I added a learn function in here. So for example, you can see a few of them already have names set. I can select, say, whatever in user position 2. Let me select that. It's Bit Crush Keys, the second version that I created, but the Electra one learns it because the preset comes up, it knows the name, so it'll put it in this table, and you can go in and set the first 36 presets if you like that way, and the name that you have for those will be displayed. And now if I turn the thing off, I'll turn it on again. Here the main user page comes up. I'll go to my performance page, and you can see all of the names that I learnt are still there when I come up. So I can go in and press one that has been set, and that'll come up on my Osmose again. This is because Martin at Electra 1 added in this persist recall function I requested that will allow you to store a table of any size you create in your program and persist it and recall it when your program comes back up. The only gotcha there is if you're going to use this, you need to make sure that the slot is empty that you're putting this preset in. Because if you try and put another Electra 1 preset in the same slot, the persist recall JSON tables that are used for this will be reinitialized and you'll lose all your data. So Number one, to use this, you need to use the new version 4.0.0 or later firmware. And if you use it, and my overlays work the same way because they remember user configurations as well. Whenever you use one of these things, put it in a new user slot. There's plenty of user slots available that are arranged in banks on this thing. There's an easy way to do that. I put all the stuff in my manual. I completely document everything I do, of course. This is one possibility for people and others like Paul who are writing similar controller interfaces for other platforms. One way to add user preset management into an application when you don't know what the names are because there's no interface for that. You can learn a name if you bring up a preset. The DSP will spew out a lot of information when you load a preset, and you can read that information. That's how I display all the macros, for example. In addition to this main control page that will allow you to transpose up a few intervals that allow you to turn your pressure glide on and off, basic things you might want to do from the user perspective for performance, but there are other pages as well. There's a page for effects that will allow you to change the recirculator type and change all the parameters on that. On the main page, I just let you change a few of the main recirculator options, the mix, the delay, and the feedback. Go to the effects page, you have full control over those. You can change your EQ settings, you can change your recirculator to be disabled if you want to apply your own external FX. And I give you a mute option here too. You can change all 4 convolutions for presets that use convolution. Not all presets use convolution. Normally if you see a macro that says body, that means convolution's used. So you can change your convolution settings just like you can in the editor. Full control of all the parameters, but the main thing you'll change there is your convolution type. You can create drastic timbre changes by changing the convolution settings on a preset that uses it. Then I have a more sophisticated transposition page. I only have a few on the first page for space limitations, but here you can transpose up and down through the octave and transpose octaves even if you like. I even let you change the surface direction you're playing in. Not very useful, but it might be a nice effect to have. And then I also let you see some information on whatever preset you have loaded, what its polyphony is, what the MP priority, etc., etc. So that's what the Osmose controller for the 2.1.21 Osmose firmware DSP 10.52 version release supports. You need to make sure 10.52, that latest Osmose release firmware, is loaded. And you need to make sure version 4.0.0 or later firmware is loaded on your Electra 1. Read the manual if you want to use this, download it. This is version 2 of the Osmose controller. The one I have up right now is the initial version. When I do a little more testing on this, I'll replace the version that's there with this and change the manual accordingly. Finally, this Electra 1 Osmose controller interface does not need to be used to change presets. You can do that on the Osmose as well. And in fact, the Osmose has all this nice filtering capability to easily select presets. So you can go on your Osmose. Let's go and let's say we'll go to the expansion bank. I can go down, select a preset, DX Magic. That will be loaded onto the Electra 1. You'll see the macros for that. We can go into the macro page here, and if I change a macro, you'll see a change on the Osmose. Unfortunately, Osmose did not include the ability to send the CCs for these macros back. So if I change the macro on the Osmose, you won't see it change on the Electra 1, unfortunately. So if you're going to use the controller, I suggest you use the macros on the controller for changing things, not on the Osmose. It's actually a bit easier because you can see all 6 of them and get to them easily on the controller, whereas on the Osmose you got to scroll through them. Either way, you can select your preset on the Electra 1, or you can select your preset from your user bank or even a playlist and it will change. You'll see the name of what you selected, and very nice interface. The Electra one is a fantastic tool, even though it's a little expensive compared to some of the other controllers. All the other controllers, in my mind, are toys compared to what this thing can do.